What do you consider to be your emotional weak spots? It's a big question, that, isn't it? It's laced with assumptions, the main one being that one has a weakness in the first place. And I think it's really important to admit that we all have them. I'm going to tell you my one. In many ways it's hard to admit, but actually on a forum like this it's almost easier. And like many things that come from pure emotion, it all links back to upbringing. I am 56 years old now. I know, right? I don't look a day over 55. And when I ask myself what makes me tick, I also ask myself what hampers me. It's not about necessarily going into any great depth right now. But it's important to admit it to myself, partly to show that there's nothing wrong with it, but it's also to show other people that we all do have these weaknesses. Frailties, we should say. We shouldn't really call them weaknesses, should we? Because they are the little knots in the wood that identify us from each other. But the thing that continues to weigh me down, even after decades, is the sense of being an imposter. And in this hectic world where we've got so much to do and so little time, I think it's important sometimes to reflect on what makes us the people that we are. Because that's the only way to really improve. It's about what makes us tick deep inside. I've had a brilliant working career. I've met some amazing people. I've earned good money. I've run a business. I've sold a business. I've done the kind of things that some people would love an opportunity to have had a stab at. And yet, I don't always give myself credit. In fact, I never give myself enough credit. And I wait for people around me to give me that credit. And so for me, I am a classic case of suffering, having, being blighted by, or just being conscious of imposter syndrome. And it's silly, and it's illogical, and I should know better by now, but I can't deny that that's inside me. But I've also made mistakes, and mistakes, I suspect, are the signs of experience and the lines on the face and all that kind of thing. And my successes have absolutely outweighed my mistakes, and yet I feel as if I'm focusing on the bad bits instead of the good ones. That's not really fair on me. And I guess I put it down to an upbringing that wasn't really about nurturing. It was an upbringing based on survival, based on getting through the day. And before long, I was on my own, as in making decisions for myself. Never having a mentor, never having somebody to lean on for help, made me feel as if I had nothing to offer. And having nothing to offer can be quite a barren place. My only examples of help that I could get would be perhaps being a bit of a follower, being in the coattails of friends, being quite passive when it came to making decisions and hoping others would make them for me. Because I've never really been taught how to. I wasn't necessarily brought up in a way that was about being a leader. And before you know it, time ticks on. And so the combination of feeling inadequate, yet feeling completely honest about how you carry yourself, I think can be quite debilitating. Shaking this feeling off, from a logical perspective, I know needs to be done. And I've been working on it for many years. And there have been opportunities in my life where I could have gone for big jobs, pushed to do other things or been more assertive. But I've never done it because I've always felt it would be undermining me. I think we can all spot a fraud, can't we? And I just don't want to be considered one. And that's the kind of value that drives me more than having a bigger salary, having a better job, whatever that means, having more stuff. I don't begrudge people that are successful and financially well off and materially happy. I do begrudge people that I consider to have conned their way into power. Big lesson for me, really, in verbalizing all of this, is to be conscious of it, to understand it's part of me, but to also put it in a bit of a box. Because if I'm not going to be successful doing what I do, somebody else will. And that won't feel fair. That won't feel fair to me, because I know I'm capable. Let me know what you've got. Let me know what you think you have. Let me know what anchors you have in your life that kind of drag you down. If you feel up for it, if you feel honest enough to communicate about these things. Because the first step is to talk about it. I'm going to think about what to do with this channel, whether it works or not. whether it helps people, but I won't know if it does unless I hear from you. And some of you may not be ready for this, but some of you might just be. Hit the follow, let's start interacting, let's start commenting together, and let's see if we can make ourselves and the world a better place.